Hello everyone. Welcome to the lecture on youth, media and consumption pattern. This lecture is a part of your paper on youth, media and society. This lecture will introduce you to the concept of media consumption and various parameters that influence the media habit or consumption among youth. In today's globalized world, media is influencing people's growth. Unlike any other nation in the world, India is the only country where both digital and print media is budding fast. Change in communication and information technology and the spread of education and general awareness have made the digital media more strong means of mass mobilization and education in today's world. Digital media has transformed the youth's lifestyle, attitude and outlook. Media has grown as an integral part of people's life across the world. Its influence over mind, heart and action of people has been a subject of research for the scholars since its inception. The reason why people use media could not be answered in one line. There are multiple parameters, factors and reasons deciding how, when and why a particular media will be used and for what purpose. While uses and gratification approach help us classify the reason why people feel the urge to use media platforms, there are some other media effect theories and demographic factors which identify the correlation and interdependence of media and its consumers. Thus, studying media consumption pattern in today's age calls for a multidimensional approach, especially due to the variety of media platforms and the diverse consumer issues. Youth constitute the most important part of consumer base of any technology. There are most promising groups as early adopters or influencing agents in any innovation diffusion process. This is why most of the modern technologies, including media, focus on children and youth population, due to the various cognitive, emotional and behavioral requirements, access multiple media platforms through multiple devices and services. Although the techno-savvy group of population is not just limited to the youth, but the relationship between youth and media platforms seems to be more powerful in the contemporary times. Thus, the relationship between youth and media consumption emerges as a query which calls for periodical investigation and in-depth study. What is media consumption? In today's heterogeneous media environment, studying the attitudes of consumers is a real big challenge, especially due to the overlapping and multiple platform access. However, it is important to develop a clear understanding of the media usage patterns of a society, as it has a large impact on socio-cultural and political behavior of a social entity. Media consumption could be understood as a process of usage of particular media platform or type by its users, alternatively called media diet. It also refers to the info edutainment the people receive through the usage of various media. The term media in the specific reference can be defined under three broad categories. Number one, print media, which includes newspaper, books, periodicals, magazines, or any other printed material. Secondly, electronic media, which includes radio and television. Third, digital, which includes website, social networking sites, video contents, blogs, etc. While studying the media consumption, one does not pay attention to the types of media platforms being accessed by the users, but also the frequency, time, device, and purpose of the usage. Content also acts as one of the major parameters in consumption studies. Consumer behavior towards a specific media can be understood through a few queries, which are: number one, the value that a media platform brings to its consumers. Secondly, demographic and cognitive profile of its consumers. Third, the pattern of usage. Fourth, emergence and effect of newer media platforms. Fifth, the range of newer platforms and their effect over traditionally existing platforms. Sixth, the benefits and convenience newer platforms offer over the traditional platforms. All the mentioned components and characteristics of consumer base forms the milieu that defines the media habits of a particular group of population. Along with these, emotional factors, which includes escapism, personal identity, as suggested by uses and gratification approach, also plays a major role in deciding media habits of users, especially like elements of platform and content. Another key component in the study of media consumption is the attitude of consumer towards media in terms of its usage, benefits, durability, and credibility. Further to this, the behavior and decision of a media consumer who depends upon the correlation between the media, society, and individual himself. Factors influencing media consumption. As discussed earlier, the behavior of an individual towards the media platform depends upon a variety of factors. Elaborating further on these factors, let's discuss the influential elements which decides the adoption and rejection of a media. As suggested by Christine Urban, the influence can be studied in three broad categories. Individual's influence. The term individual influences include the demographics, psychological factors, and inclination towards media. The demographic factors like age, gender, financial status, ethnicity and cultural background, education, social status, lifestyle, occupation, etc. are the major variables that decide the attitude of a consumer towards the media platforms, thus deciding having an influential role in their media consumption habits. Adding further to these are the psychological factors like attitude towards innovation, motivation for early adoption, risk-taking behavior, selective exposure, etc. Secondly, interpersonal influence. Peer groups view generally have big role in consumption of any service including media. Use of media by an individual is greatly motivated by what feedback and reference he or she receives from the peer group. According to two-step flow theory of communication, shared experience and opinions by the perceived leader have great value in deciding the choices and decisions of the people. Third, its situational influence. In contrast with the previously discussed two influencing factors, situational influence is more about the coordination between the time, media environment, and the individual needs. Sometimes, despite of favorable interpersonal and individual factors, the consumption of a media platform may be possible due to certain situational reasons. This might be due to the absence of coordination between the time, media, and an individual. In addition to these three factors, media format, behavior, content, and its involvement in people's life and credibility also affect the media consumption. Media consumption and youth. The media consumption pattern among youth is such that they do not use one media at a time. In fact, their time is split into multiple activities at multiple media platforms. They adopt a different purpose, a different platform approach. However, in the contemporary times, most of the media platforms can be accessed on mobile phones. The researchers have shown that the average time spent on various media platforms is actually more than that of the sleep time. Trends of media consumption suggest the youth are very selective while choosing media platforms. They prefer visual communication, personal experiences, and customized benefits are the most important parameters for them. Mobile phones are generally preferred as a media access device over other forms of traditional devices. Smartphones have replaced desktops, laptops, television, radio, and print media. Convergence in media platforms has enabled users to access multiple platforms through single device. This is also because the same device helps them to become prosumers as and when they want. Smartphones allows them to access, like, comment, and share, and even produce the content. With over 450 million social media users, out of which more than 420 million are on mobile phones, India is among top 5 countries in the world when it comes to pace of growth in internet users. Not to mention that most of the population are young. Smartphones have initiated a paradigm shift in the communication and information landscape. Smartphones have replaced desktops, laptops to a greater extent. The change can be seen as a major shift in preference in media consumers across the world and irrespective of demographic profiling. While social media has turned into information highway, the connect between youth and print media is going through all-time low phase. Situation with electronic media is still better. The amount of time spent on television is more than that of print media. However, it is dependent upon the number of television shows of their choice on a particular channel. Their interest in reality shows, sports, adventure-based programs and lifestyle-based content is generally recorded higher than that of any other content, including news. In fact, young viewership comes to the news channels majorly during any important happening of national and international importance. While print and electronic media still continues with the traditional approach of information dissemination, younger audience find digital platforms, especially social networking sites, to be more convenient for a two-way information exchange and verification. This turns more special and effective in case of issues pertaining to civic, religion, public administration, regional, national, international, politics, fashion, lifestyle, entertainment, and even various art forms. The big data on internet has enabled audience to access the information of their choice according to their preferences of time, space, and duration. Most of the media content in the contemporary times have been loaded on web through in various forms at different platforms. Information superhighway has replaced the mainstream media to a large extent. Thus, there is an obvious shift in the media consumption pattern irrespective of demographic differences. India isn't transforming into a digital nation at a very fast pace. This concept of digital media emerges from the idea of highly active, participative, technology literate and rational populace which would be smart enough to contribute to the digitalization. The trend on online information access, shopping, studies publishing like audio, video, content, participation in intellectual groups, entertainment, etc. is growing at a real fast pace among the youth of the country. The motivation from Digital India is on the basis of the fact that India is on the path of becoming the youngest country in the world. Since the new generation is technology friendly, it would be easy for them to help the country move further through digital transformation, wherein every activity of a citizen regular life would be complemented by the digital devices and platforms. In the contemporary world, youth's life are impacted by digital technology, which includes digital TV, media, and the internet. Youth can adopt new digital communication methods more easily. Through digitalization, now media can easily reach to the millions of people and construct the consciousness among the people, and advertisements on digital media pushes the demand for services and products. The advertisement and content can influence their buying behavior. Youngsters get influenced more by advertisements and purchase all those products and brands which are often advertised in digital media. Online shopping is the recent trend among youth. Youngsters use internet and phones for online shopping, for which they mostly consider views and recommendations which are posted on internet while shopping. Summing up this lecture, we hope that you have understood that the media consumption pattern among youth is witnessing a paradigm shift in digital era. The traditional media platforms are being replaced by new media, and young population is at the top on the demographic chart as the active users of digital media. Smartphone emerges as the sole replacement of all the traditional platforms and as a tool of fulfillment of the most cognitive, affective, and behavioral needs of its users. However, there are a number of influencing factors which helps the youth to decide on the number and the type of platform and the device they choose to access for media content. While demographics is one of the most influential factor, individual preferences, interpersonal pressures, and situational influences are the other major elements deciding on the patterns of media consumption among youth in India. There is a big shift in Indian media industry, traditional to digital media. Digital media scope is also increasing in the rural part of the country. Digital media use has increased the consciousness among the rural people. Now they can also have access to the internet. Despite this, there is a gap between the rural and urban regarding digital media use. The reasons behind are the illiteracy, lack of awareness, and infrastructure and technical skills. Hope you enjoyed the lecture. For more details, please read the e-text of this lecture properly and attempt the questions in the end. Thank you.